region. NBC 25 News at 6 starts right now.
If you head out to trick or treat anytime soon, you will likely be dodging a lot of puddles and even some snowflakes. We're seeing them fall already in Bay City. You can see them right there on the camera, but also some roads in Bay City already underwater from all the rain. JFK Drive is closed to traffic from the community center to the marina. This includes the westbound ramp from Veterans Bridge that leads into Veterans Park. Parts of the park you can see here flooded. There's no access to the ball field parking lot and then the area near the tennis courts either. So a lot of water. And now, as we just showed everyone, Amma, we've got snow.
Yes, I know. I'm
You're
weird.
excited.
I am. It's something, we got something to talk about now other than just rain,
It's
rain,
true.
rain. So, yeah. Here's Stormy Doppler. You don't need me to show you where the snow is. I think you can see it, that big amount of blue, and it is absolutely on the way in. So here's what's going to happen. As we go over the next couple of hours, we'll get more of that, but all the greens you see here, the dark green, the flood warnings along the shoreline. We have that trailer park that's actually north of Bay City over in Bangor Township. That has a lot of flooding going on. You have a flood warning for the Saginaw River. You have an advisory for Sanilac County. Everybody's got something going on with water. We also have the wind, a lot of strong wind overnight. You've got the wind advisories until 4 a.m. Friday for everybody highlighted there. A lot of wind gusting overnight. Winter weather advisories for our northern counties until 5 o'clock tomorrow morning and for our western counties until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning due to the snow. Current temps in the 30s and the 40s, and that means as we go outside, you've got the rain activity still moving on through. It's definitely going to be a wet trick-or-treating, but if you head indoors for a bit of a Halloween party for you, here's what you have in store for you. You got the 30s, a little bit of snow, the rain, don't worry. Boogie on down, warm yourself up. We've got some heat and some dry air on the way for the weekend.
You can dance in that graphic there. Well, happening right now, Burson Fieldhouse is holding its annual Halloween candy giveaway. This is a live look at what's happening there right now. So if you want to escape that rain and that snow Ahmed mentioned, everything here is indoors. Music, bounce houses, and of course, all the yummy candy. It goes until 7 p.m. NBC 25 reporter Leah Kamina is out in Grand Blanc Township right now. So Leah, are there a lot of souls out there braving this rain to trick or treat?
Stephanie, Halloween is finally here, and unfortunately, I think the rain has kept quite a few people inside. We have spoken to a few people who live in this neighborhood who told us usually when 6 o'clock rolls around, everyone comes running outside. So far, we aren't seeing anybody. It is just us walking down this street, but there's still quite a bit of time to go trick-or-treating. So if you do, we want to make sure everybody stays safe tonight. So with the rain coming down, it's extra important to watch where you step and how fast you are stepping. The ground is a bit slippery out here. Also, avoid walking in the street, stay on the sidewalks. If there are no sidewalks, walk on the left side of the road facing traffic. Visibility is key all throughout the night, so do whatever you can to make sure you and the little ones can't be missed. And lastly, make sure to stick with the group you leave the house with.
You need to go with your child. We don't want kids out there by themselves. Next, those kids have to be visible, whether it's putting reflective tape, flashlights, glow sticks, something on their costume that makes them visible.
And parents, I know those kids, when they get home, they want to jump right into all of that candy, but make sure you do a look through first. If any of the wrappers look open, definitely throw that away. And if the candy looks like it's been tampered with at all, toss that in the trash as well. Here in Grand Blanc, trick-or-treating goes till 8 o'clock, so there's still some time for people to go out, but this rain has just started coming down a little bit harder. And unfortunately, even these inflatables don't want to deal with it. Live in Grand Blanc, Leah Kamina, NBC 25 News.
Thank you, Leah. Well, if you're out there enjoying the Halloween events outside tonight, be sure to download the NBC 25 mobile app. You can get the latest weather updates and also our chime-in pictures and videos. We want to see the costumes that you're wearing if you're indoors or if you're outdoors, so be sure to share them with us. Well, breaking news tonight out of Michigan State football. One of the best Spartans in program history is now ineligible. He's out for the remainder of his college career. We're joined now live by sports director Gina Trotman. Hey, Gina.
Steph, Mark D'Antonio says Joe Bacci was chosen as a two-time captain because of his work ethic and his leadership. Well, Well, today Michigan State announces that Bocce has been declared ineligible by the Big Ten due to a failed drug test. Now, the test was conducted at random by the conference. The two-time captain and all Big Ten linebacker tested positive for a supplement that is classified as a performing-enhancing substance. Michigan State is filing an appeal immediately with the Big Ten. Both Mark D'Antonio and Joe Bocce did release statements today. D'Antonio saying this situation breaks his heart, but it doesn't define Joe as a player or a man. Bocce apologized to his team and his fans, saying he's done his very best to represent MSU in a positive manner on and off the field. Bocce was voted as a preseason All-American and currently leads the team with 71 tackles. Mark D'Antonio said they'll continue to support Bocce throughout the entire appeal process. State is off this weekend, but will host Illinois on November 9th. Reporting in the studio, Gina Trotman, NBC 25 News.
Today, the move to possibly remove President Donald Trump from office took a big step forward. The House voted to formalize the impeachment process against him. NBC 25's Femi Redwood joining us now in the studio. So, Femi, this is only the fourth time in history this has even happened.
Yes, Stephanie, and it's that rarity which is causing so many people to not really understand what all of this means. Impeachment does not mean that the president is removed from office automatically, nor does it mean the president is guilty. It just means charges are being brought, similar to an indictment. Today's vote went down party lines. Most Democrats, except for two, voted for impeachment. Every Republican opposed it. Michigan Representative Justin Amash voted for impeachment, but he's no longer a Republican. As you may remember, earlier this year, he switched to the Independent Party. Political expert Paul Rosicki says this may make him appear as a rebel and probably won't do him any harm politically. But will this harm Democrats, especially as we look ahead of the 2020 elections, considering all of the issues families in mid-Michigan deal with? So we asked Rosicki, is this something voters here care about?
But when you talk about what's important to people, impeachment is not at the top of the list. As you say, the average farmer, the average worker is probably not watching this like political junkies like us are. So I think it's going to be, by the time we get to next year's election, whatever happens, I don't think it's going to be a major issue.
He says both sides will be able to use this politically. Democrats can campaign on whatever damaging information comes out of the process, and the president can say he is a victim in all of this. In the studio, Femi Redwood, NBC 25 News.
Michigan is changing part of the criminal justice system. Now, 17-year-old offenders will not be automatically charged as adults. Our political reporter Mackenzie Frost is joining us now live from Lansing with more on this. So, Mackenzie, the number of juveniles in Michigan in the adult system, it is relatively small, but you say the impacts of this change really could be quite massive.
Stephanie, that's right. The Department of Corrections tells me right now there are 29 17-year-old offenders in the adult prison system. Now, advocates and supporters of this raise the age legislation says putting these 17-year-olds in the juvenile system will help them rehabilitate instead of putting them more in the adult system, which is geared towards more punitive action. Now, Governor Gretchen Whitmer put pen to paper this morning here in the Capitol, signing this plan into law. She was joined by lawmakers, other groups, and Attorney General Dana Nessel. Nessel saying getting juveniles to help earlier can help them keep them out of jail, saving taxpayers more money in the end. Before the change, Michigan was one of 4 states in the country to automatically charge 17-year-olds as adults. One of those is Brianna Moore. She was charged at 17 with a misdemeanor assault and a battery after an incident at the mall. She says she now has graduated and works as a social worker, but getting to this point in her life wasn't always easy.
Scary. Frightening, but also this uncertainty because you have no idea what that means exactly. You know it's bad, you know that they're now labeling you as a criminal, but to what extent? Something so small can follow you for the rest of your life. And I just didn't let society define me. You want to call me a criminal, that's fine, but I'm going to show you what I'm made of.
Now, this raise the age is part of a larger criminal justice reform effort taking place here in Lansing. Earlier, lawmakers approved civil asset forfeiture reform, and they're currently working on expungement changes. The raise the age change will take effect here in Michigan in October 2021. Live in Lansing, Mackenzie Frost, NBC 25 News.
It's important to note the new laws will not impact current 17-year-old offenders in the adult system right now. Prosecutors will also still have discretion, and so depending on the severity of the charges, a 17-year-old could be waived into the adult system still. The Sports Creek Raceway Complex is one step closer now to reopening. The company that's been seeking licenses to operate this facility again was just granted a race meeting license, but with some conditions. AM Race and Sports has previously said they want to be able to have live racing and simulcast. Well, they do have to get further approval to do that. So far, AM Race and Sports, they have requested 10 dates for thoroughbred racing. Coming up next, some issues possibly with absentee ballots. We're going to explain what's being done to try and make sure everything goes smooth with the upcoming election.
Plus, all that rain changes over to snow, and it does so rather quickly. I'll let you know how much you will see in your yard coming up.
You're watching NBC 25 News at 6.
We first told you last night Flint mayoral challenger Sheldon Neely is calling for the state to oversee next week's election. He says alleged voter fraud and absentee ballot tampering are issues his team is really worried about. Neely has even sent a letter to Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson asking for supervision. This afternoon, Flint City Clerk Inez Brown, we spoke with her. She addressed Neely's desire to have the state, come in for this additional oversight. Brown says she has seen more irregularities with ballots for Tuesday's election, but then wouldn't really get into the specifics of what she meant. She says some of those irregularities can be attributed to the new law, which is allowing anyone to apply for an absentee ballot. But Brown says any and all irregularities her office has come across, they've been flagged immediately.
My office has been in day-to-day contact with the state of Michigan to let them know what we're running into. In addition to that, we have been in touch with the local law enforcement officials at the county level. We then, of course, have now gone to the state level for law enforcement as it relates to if we run into a problem.
Brown also tells us there have been 3,200 requests for absentee ballots for the November 5th election. And at this point, 71% or 2,284 have been returned. Under law, the clerk's office cannot open any absentee ballots to be counted until Tuesday night. You can read Neely's statement about this right now by heading to our website or also going to the NBC 25 mobile app. With the next election just days away, Genesee County Clerk John Gleason held a press conference today as well, reminding voters what they need to do with those absentee ballots. So if you've not handed it in yet, here are the things that you need to know.
You must get your absentee ballot into the office, if you haven't used one already, by 8 o'clock election night to your local clerk. And also, you have until 4 o'clock Monday if you want to replace your ballot. If you think it's been compromised, if you think you gave it to someone that didn't turn it in.
The Genesee County Clerk's office will also be open over the weekend, so voters can also hand in those absentee ballots then. The women's vote is a key target of all candidates in any election. And as the 2020 election nears, both parties are working to craft messages that will appeal to women voters. Laura Trump, the president's campaign advisor and also daughter-in-law, says the Trump campaign sees support is getting stronger for the president. In an interview with America This Week's Eric Bolling, Laura Trump talked about how the Trump campaign will attract women voters for this upcoming election.
What's the message that you're bringing to women, the group you just mentioned, when you travel the country? What do you want to let them know?
Yeah, listen, the message is it's okay to stand up and say you support Donald Trump. I think the problem out there is the media has made women feel, in particular, like they cannot support this president. And the reality is so many women support this president because he's been great for women and men alike across this country. Of the 6.5 million jobs created since Donald Trump took office, over half of those have gone to women. And in our fundraising numbers, Eric, we see that in the first quarter of this year, our most historic quarter of fundraising, we've seen over half the donations came from women. And you contrast that with 2016, where only a quarter of our donations came from women. Women are backing this president. They just need to get out there and talk about it and stand up and say so.
You can see that entire interview with Laura Trump on America This Week with Eric Bolling right now by heading over to NBC25news.com.
Now, your certified NBC 25 Storm Ready forecast.
Good evening, everyone, and of course, happy Halloween, but it might not be the happiest with all that rain and that snow that's moving on through actually right now. Check it out. Our Stormy Doppler, we've got the rain and we absolutely have the snow. Well, you can see these little pins. This one up near Cadillac, that was a 2-inch total report from earlier, and they're still getting snow. So we're in the range. I'll show you here in a minute. The rain activity, though, around 1 inch or so of extra rainfall we've already had, and we still have more before we make the changeover. Now, a lot of different alerts to talk about. So here are the first ones that are causing a lot of issues. The dark green color for Huron, Tuscola, and Bay, those are the lakeshore flood warnings. That's where it's actually a little nasty. You get a lot of flooding actually occurring along those spots. The flood warning on the Saginaw River, absolutely. All the wind is shoving the water like a plug against the end of the bay, or against the end of the river. And everything's trying to drain on out, and it absolutely cannot right now. So until that wind goes, we've got that in effect. We've got the advisory for flooding along the lakeshore for Sanilac County, but a little higher there, so gives you a chance to kind of dodge the worst of it. Wind advisory, that's all this right here for the Tri-Cities, the Thumb, the southern counties. That goes until 4 a.m. The wind is definitely rough overnight. We are not there yet. Yes, it's windy, but we are not to the worst of it yet. And the reason that's there is, of course, you can see an isolated outage from it. We already have a couple in the Thumb. We've got another one down near Perry. So we're already seeing that. Now the winter weather advisory up north. We'll just keep going here with these. The western counties, all until tomorrow morning. Those are there because 1 inch or 2 of wet, heavy snow on top of trees that already have the leaves, and you add the wind to it, it can cause an isolated outage potential overnight. It just all adds up. It's like piece by piece building. It's like stacking a bunch of Lego bricks on top of one another. You got the low 40s, though, for tomorrow for the southern counties, so we're making a little progress. In the Thumb, keeping an eye out for the low 40s there. You've got the cloud cover, dry air tomorrow. Definitely a plus. We're working with a little bit of dry air there to help. Now in the Tri-Cities, in the western counties, holding on to the low 40s, dry air, and even some sun to start the day. That will be nice. As we go through the northern counties, watching for the upper 30s to build on in. So still cold, but dry and with sunshine, still with the breeze. We're stuck with that. Now on Futurecast, this is the important stuff. So if you want to see the snow, pay attention to this. Because going through I know you might not want to see the snow, but you should probably watch anyway. The snow activity moves in all through the night, and it continues to hammer the area all the way through. The Thumb sees the least of it, but we still end up accumulating some. Now going into Saturday, watch Friday night. Into Saturday, you can see more swings on through, and that's when the last bit is. Now, how much are we getting? Now, we've got about, in the light blue, 1 to 2 on the grass for the most part. In the dark blue, way to our north, just brushing a couple of our northern counties, that's 2 to 4. Again, mainly on grass, but we do have up near Houghton Lake and Higgins Lake a little bit on the roadways on I-75, so we have some of that. Now we dry up a bit for part of the extended, and then Saturday night into Sunday, right, 2 a.m., we fall back. So that's when we have a bit of a change there for you.
Well, if you forgot what this snow looks like me, I think I've kind of forgotten winter, Ahmed. We have a good look for you right here, because in Cadillac, it's already starting to accumulate in some spots. You can see it there on the roofs. I think it was a little bit of it on the sidewalks. Oh my gosh. That is what we are in store for. This is a live look here, again, from Cadillac. It's our sister station up there that covers Traverse City and Cadillac. So thinking about all of them tonight, because their roads could be slick, and at least we know what we're in store for as well, Ahmed.
In Cadillac, and you see the idea. I mean, most of it's not sticking to the roadway just yet, but as we go through the night, it will, and it gets a little slippery then. So just a reminder, it's not the worst, but it's our first wave.
If you want to avoid that snow and that rain, though, we're going to tell you coming up next about somewhere you can go inside still. It's still happening right now, and you can go trick-or-treating with the kids, and you won't need those rain jackets, and you won't need anything to escape any snowflakes either. Stay with us. So trick-or-treating started technically, 24 minutes ago, but a lot of the Halloween fun started earlier in the day in downtown Flint. Take a look. Mayor Karen Weaver and the Flint City Hall staff, they just wrapped up actually this annual Harvest Fest they do. New this year though, kids were invited in to do some trunk-or-treating.
The kids get to come in, we get to talk with the parents, everybody has a good time, and they seem to enjoy it and have fun. And it was a time for the staff to interact with the community.
And can you blame people for wanting to go inside? More trick-or-treaters avoiding the rain by heading inside to the Cortland Center Mall and the Sloan Museum there in Burton. The Sloan Museum has trick-or-treating and other hands-on activities right now for the kiddos.
As the kids are leaving, they can grab some candy, and every store in the mall is passing out candy, so it's a great spot if you're looking for a way to trick-or-treat and not get wet.
You still have time. This goes until 8 this evening. And while Genesee County residents, they're always getting in for free, today anyone who's in a costume gets in for free. Don't forget, send us your Halloween pictures and videos in our Chime In gallery on our website or in our mobile app. Like this one here. This is from Jessica. She is the Swartz Creek Middle School librarian, but today she was a deviled egg for Halloween. Very cute. Thank you for sharing. A breaking traffic alert here. Northbound I-75 is backed up at Corona Road with reports of a crash. We'll keep you posted on social media and the website.
Absolutely. And we still got that rain, of course, but going on into trick-or-treating. Hey, maybe boogie on down. Watch for that snow and bundle up. Enjoy the night. Happy Halloween.
See you at 11.